Hello and welcome to Loitering, part of the Geek Show podcast network. We are the Geek Show's dedicated arts and books and all sorts of things like that podcast.
I'm Graham, and this week I've been joined by Rob.
Hello.
And Andrew.
Hello.
Been a while, hasn't it?
It has. I sure hope we haven't missed anything while we've been in cryosleep these past few weeks. No big world events.
I mean, staying in cryosleep was probably the safe option.
Well, if anything, I think that is the government's next handy health tip.
Yes, self-isolate in a stasis booth.
Hang on. Are we all going to be Lister?
Yes, that's exactly the plan.
That's not a good plan.
It kept him there for 3 million years.
Yeah. What if that's just what we tell the super rich needs to happen? And then we put all their cryopods in a bunker? Or we just lock the door?
Yes, the long-awaited Reverse Atlas Shrugged scenario.
I thought the Reverse Atlas Shrugged was some kind of weird pause in bodybuilding.
Also, I've got to say, Graham, I'm very disappointed in you. An introduction to literary loitering, which involves a book reference. That's not how we do things round these parts.
Yes, it's very true. Our beat, if you're listening for the first time after our, I would say, hugely successful, almost too successful Cinema Eclectica takeover, our beat is that we do the latest news stories from the world of arts and books and the like.
Unless 4-panel takeover.
Unless 4-panel takeover in case they do an episode of 4-panel.
We do about an hour of content.
In which we discover that you can take certain books and turn them into superhero comics, but there are also certain books that you should never turn into superhero comics.
Yeah, I was very disappointed that you missed out on Naked Lunch, which is, I mean...
No.
It's already got the origin story for his superpowers. He just snorts some mugwumpjism.
Yeah. Well, my name is not Alan Moore, Garth Ennis, Warren Ellis, any of several other.
I did also, in that episode, describe The Hunchback of Notre Dame as an Alexandre Dumas book.
Oh, you Alexander dumbass.
But we did kind of create the DC, the Dumas character extended universe.
That was a good one, yes.
It was. That's probably the best joke we've ever accidentally stumbled in.
Yes.
But yes, we have regular features on this show, and we're going to start off with one of them. Andrew, are your pipes ready?
What?
Oh, yeah.
So long.
Take it away.
I was going to do.
You're so excited at having an actual excuse to do this that it's just gone out of your head.
It is, no, it's okay. I've got it. Some might say the time for this is long past, but I'm still going to do it. So, Graham, what section have we got?
We've got Game of Thrones news.
Dun 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 memories. Thank you for so long. For so long I've been waiting for that one.
It's okay, I'm pretty sure that the movie Cats will remain current forever.
We'll never get over Cats, will we?
No, not at all.
Like some trace memory in our collective psyche. You know how there's like that theory that the reason that humanity is so collectively afraid of things with like vampires with long sharp teeth is due to some like long distant genetic memory.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you think eventually it'll be that, but for cats?
I do, yes.
See, I just think that Andrew Lloyd Webber he looked at, like, you know, the Egyptian fascination with cats, and he's like, cats as people, cats as gods.
He looked at the Egyptian fascination with cats and thought, can I make something that would make people want to draw their own internal organs out through their nose?
How do you...
Bomb, 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 bomb. Surprise! This is all the intro to Game of Thrones watch.
It's the middle eight.
Oh, yeah.
So what's the news?
Oh, all the books have been finished and they're coming out Tuesday.
What?
No, that's not the news at all, sorry.
What? No, that caught me off guard. I thought you were serious.
No, as ever, Game of Thrones Watch has nothing to do with George R.R. Martin finishing any book of any variety whatsoever, but it does have to do with a pterodactyl.
I mean, even better.
Yes.
You know, I was prepared to say even better in a sarcastic way, but this is genuinely even better. There's a pterodactyl involved.
It's true. Yes, a pterosaur has been recategorized by the Brazilian paleontologist Rodrigo Pegas with a Game of Thrones reference. It used to be called Ornithocheirus wiedenrothi, and it is now called Targaryen Draco wiedenrothi.
I mean, that's pretty rad.
Yeah. Or, as Martin says, really too cool. But the explanation for it is that Pegas has sided with Martin on an issue of great controversy in the past, one that does have to do a bit with pterosaurs.
Okay.
He believes, as Martin does, that dragons make more biological sense if they have 2 legs and wings rather than 4 legs and wings.
Well, yeah. I kind of understand what they're saying, because birds have 2 legs and wings and lizards have 4 legs. You don't see a 6-legged lizard anywhere on planet Earth. And most creatures, the majority of vertebrates, or vertebrates with limbs, I should say, on planet Earth, have 4 limbs.
There is nothing with 4 legs and wings, is there? Even there isn't even an insect that has it.
Bizarrely enough, the closest you'll actually get is 4 legs, or 2 legs, 2 arms, and a prehensile tail.
Right.
But that's it.
I mean, give me 2 pigeons, a hacksaw, and some sticky glue, and I can sort you out.
Yes.
But, right? That's if you go along with the idea of dragons as lizards, right? Now, I put it to you. How many lizards on planet Earth breathe fire?
This is the thing, isn't it? I mean, how scientifically accurate do you want your dragons to be?
Yeah, because if you're going to go scientifically accurate, then, let's go the whole hog. Don't just go halfway, Gur Martin and whoever the other fellow was. Let's say, how many lizards on planet Earth breathe fire? 0.
Yeah.
How many insects, on the other hand, who can have 6 or even 8 legs, or who can have 6 legs and 2 pairs of wings, right? Dragonflies, for example. How many types of insect can glow in the dark? Can spit acid? Can do all sorts of other things? And insects more likely to be of a dragon category than lizards?
There's a lot of animals that spit venom. Eminem, for example.
Well, he's going to get him. Didn't you know? Haven't you heard?
The song does subtly make that clear, doesn't it?
No, it doesn't.
But it's the word on the street, man.
Pegas explained the categorization to National Geographic by saying, the slenderness of jaw is the main feature they share. It's the most extreme slenderness in the jaws of any toothed pterosaurs. Is it me, or does he sound turned on?
This does sound like a paragraph from the Bad Sex Awards. as he caressed his slender pterosaur-like jaw. God, that does sound hot, though.
Well, yeah, especially if it breathes fire.
All I want to know now is, okay, he can have Targaryen dragons, but can they stand up against the sheer might of Raptor Jesus?
I think we've worked out what the Winds of Winter's about.
What? Targaryen pterosaurs versus Raptor Jesus?
I hope so.
Okay, but counterpoint.
Hmm?
Can Raptor Jesus stand up to Daenerys Targaryen and a handful of bees? She's heard Rob's thing, and that's it. She's an insect girl now. So she's just like, bees to the face.
She will absolutely prevail in any battle against Nicolas Cage.
This is going down a very strange route now.
I mean, to be fair, so did the final season of Game of Thrones.
I think my idea of insect dragons has a lot more scientific basis than pterosaurs.
Yes.
Well, I think you have something there, Rob, because I have spoken to the Game of Thrones community about it, and I'll just say there's a lot of buzz surrounding the idea.
Oh dear.
Can you tell me recording this on a Sunday afternoon?
Yes, I think they can. Should we move on to less depressing stuff than Andrew's pun book?
Yes.
Oh no. Actually, I was going to say, oh no, my secret diary, but that's more depressing, isn't it?
No.
Take that myself. You guys want to continue? I'll just sit here having an argument with myself.
The Comedy Central roast of Andrew by Andrew. Yes. Let's move on to COVID-19.
Oh, do we have to?
Well, reportedly about 60% of us have to by the more conservative estimates. There has been a minor literary controversy surrounding the 2020 coronavirus outbreak, originating with the work, somewhat bizarrely, of the American horror author Dean Koontz. And
I know this story.
I'm getting this from Snopes just to make sure that we are not, in fact, spreading misinformation about a major pandemic. But people have been...
what are we? The British government?
Oh, boom! You've sharpened your wit on yourself.
Exactly.
That just sounds wrong.
It was all like, you know how you gotta like hone a steel sword in the harshest of flames.
Oh god, this is getting worse. I'm sorry. This was still on the bad sex thing. He honed his steel sword.
Oh, yes. Dean Koontz's novel The Eyes of Darkness from 1981 predicts the outbreak of extremely virulent new disease created in a government lab as a bioweapon called, sinister drum roll here, Wuhan 400.
Yes?
Oh, that's a bit of a tenuous link, I feel like.
Yeah, it literally only has the city in common. It's not a member of the coronavirus family. It has 100% fatality rate, which I think, even the Daily Express are not predicting something that bad. It has an incubation period of about 4 hours, which would ironically make it a lot easier to deal with than COVID-19.
Yep.
Still.
I mean, that's just one of a long list of authors and creators who have accidentally predicted something that was going to happen years or decades later. I mean, there was the guy who wrote a book about...
Well, I mean, I think it also joins the even longer list of science fiction writers who have wrote a novel about what if the future and there's a bad virus.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, there's that. But, I mean, there was the guy who basically wrote about a terrorist attack on the World Trade Center where they fly a commercial airplane into the World Trade Center. There was the guy who... there was the American who predicted the attack on Pearl Harbor.
Mm-hmm.
There's several major ones like that, and each time it's been a work of the imagination or something based on actual analysis of data.
There is a further twist to this, because in the original version of The Eyes of Darkness, the bioweapon was a Russian one called Gorky 400, after a zygotic monkey. Come on, no one went for that?
No. You dangled it, but us fishies are much smarter than that.
apparently changed sometime before 2008 in later editions to Wuhan 400, implying that what Kuntz has actually done here is not foresee some dark portent of our interconnected future, but actually look at things like SARS, which had happened by then, and thought, oh yeah, what's a Chinese city called?
It also suggests that he's done what J.K. Rowling has done, and looked at the state of the world as it is now, and after the fact changed details about his book, since the big enemy this time...
At least, to be fair, he had the follow-through to actually change it in the book.
Yeah.
Yes, he later clarified that at least one of the Eyes of Darkness is gay.
Is it the left one or the right one?
But yes, it is a bit like that.
Like Andrew said, at least he changed the book. He didn't simply say, oh no, after the fact.
Yeah.
After all the books are published and all the money's been made.
I'm trying to find the most extraordinary case of predictive novel ever. And yes, there we go. The 1898 novel The Wreck of the Titan or Futility by Morgan Robinson.
Yeah, it was about the Titanic. It basically predicted the entirety of the Titanic, didn't it?
It did.
Oh,
yes.
yeah, I think I have vaguely heard of this. It is like, it's about a boat that's unsinkable and then hits an iceberg and sinks, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's called The Titan, which is pretty impressive.
That one is genuinely quite spooky.
Yeah, that one is spooky. But I know The Simpsons. The Simpsons is notorious for predicting things that are going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just Google Simpsons predictions, there's a whole list of them.
Like the fact that we're all yellow and have 4 fingers now.
Yeah, or the fact that there's a complete buffoon in charge of the White House.
Yes. Or the fact that as viewers of Lisa's Wedding will have known, people inexplicably started taking Jim Carrey seriously for a bit.
We did?
Yeah.
Why was that?
I think it's something to do with, if you multiply the date of Jim Carrey's birth and then divide it by all the films he'd done up to then, it's the number 23.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's the number 23, and that one, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, and, he did a couple of other things, I think, around then, where he wasn't being his, well, they call him Goofy, but he doesn't look anything like Goofy.
That's true. He's not even a dog.
Goofy isn't a dog. We don't know what Goofy is.
Isn't it Pluto that we're all baffled by?
Yeah, Pluto, who's the dog who is actually just a dog.
Yeah.
But then Goofy, who is also a dog, but is a person dog.
That's why we're all. That's why it's Goofy who's the bizarre one.
Yeah. That makes sense. It's kind of like how most of the cats in Cats don't wear clothes like normal cats do. But then Idris Elba cat has a trench coat and a hat, which implies that he needs to wear clothes. But then he takes them off and nobody thinks it's strange.
I want to ask, where is
for the audience, because he's somehow more naked than the other naked cats.
Yes.
I want to ask, where is Cats set? Is it in London or is it in New York or where is it?
It is in London in the film. I don't know if that's the case in the stage show, but the film makes it clear it is in London.
Okay. In which case, can we all just go to America? Because according to an American tale, there are no cats in America and the streets are paved with cheese.
Well, enough about Trump's next couple of policies.
The war on cats. Let's talk about skeeves.
Is this some weird Jeeves and Wooster reference?
Sadly, no. We've got some fine sleazeball news coming up for you, and we're starting off with the recently and gratifyingly concluded Harvey Weinstein trial.
Indeed. He's in prison now.
He is. And fortunately, he seems to have cured that problem he had, which required him to need a Zimmer frame.
No, that problem was cured right after the trial when he gave his Zimmer frame to his assistant and walked.
I'd rather say it was cured sometime before the trial as he ran up the steps, a Zimmer frame in hand.
Yes, like Rocky. Yes, Harvey Weinstein's lawyer Damon Chironis, who you would have thought would have looked at the evidence and thought, yes, slam dunk, this is going to be the easiest defence I ever have to make. You'll be surprised to hear he actually seems to have been a bit desperate.
Really?
Yes.
Gasp!
He tried to get juror number 11 in the trial struck off because she was reading books about predatory old men and reviewing them on Goodreads.com.
And how is that relevant?
Well, you see, if you'd read the books, which are interesting books, they've been, well received. My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell and Consent by Vanessa Springora. If you read both of those, Rob, you might come away with the idea that rape is bad. And that rather biases the trial, apparently.
Right. But was that how the trial worked? Is that this lawyer went to the judge and said, "Excuse me, Your Honor, but we need to get this juror struck off because she's read some books about predatory old men, and she might realise that that's what my client is." Right, shit, no. Oh.
Or is it a case of he goes up to the judge and he says, "Excuse me, Your Honor, but some members of the jury already have biases against my client. They already believe that rape is bad, but this trial is to prove that rape is not bad." No, sorry, that's the wrong words.
Yes, he thought he was setting perhaps a bigger precedent than he really was.
What? This is basic stuff you learn in like primary school. There are certain things you can and cannot do.
Hutz level lawyering here.
Yes. I like how The Simpsons is going to be a constant theme in this episode.
It is, yes.
I mean, do you think he also had to say, well, I don't want any more of the jury to be biased against my client for being a predatory old man, so I guess he's going to have to wear a paper bag over his head.
Your Honor,
You've seen Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, Your Honor, I object to this jury. This jury is made up of young men and women. I believe this jury should be made up completely of predatory old men.
Yeah.
I mean, they do say you need to be judged by a jury of your peers.
What a bunch of people with incontinence. They're all dying. They're all holding it in, so they're all just going to make their judgment really quick.
And then if they run out, juror number 7 can just be like a giant hock of roast ham.
The books are kind of interesting. Sadly, it doesn't say whether the Goodreads reviews were positive, I guess, because that would compromise her anonymity. But Vanessa Springora's book is a memoir about being abused by the French author Gabriel Matzneff, who was a pillar of the French literary establishment for decades with his well-received, highly acclaimed diaries about molesting children in Thailand. But recently everyone's been shocked to learn that the guy's a pedo.
Wow.
The French literary establishment.
Jimmy Savile all over again, isn't
The French literary establishment may be a bit slow.
Yeah, we know about that. It's because they've got that laissez-faire attitude, haven't they?
They tend to think that absolutely everything that happens that is bad is actually just a daring provocation. The French plan to deal with COVID-19 is just to say that it was shocking at the start, but now it's like Mikhail Houellebecq. It's just been around too long. It's wore off. Anyway, let's move on from rapists, something which is thankfully completely unconnected to rapists in every way. Let's talk about pickup artists.
Wow. That's not really a big leap, is it? Is picking people up an art? No.
No. It's certainly picking people up like this is not an art. But yes, the Sydney bookstore Kinokuniya has had to go public about being targeted by pickup artists who are using its premises as a testing ground to approach women.
Sorry, approach females. Oh no, didn't like it.
You didn't add enough ease to the word. That's your problem. It should be females.
Can I just point out, you can't really use female because you're not defining the species when you say female. So then there's the ambiguity as to whether you're talking about female humans, or are you talking about female cats? Are you talking about female creatures of some sort?
I mean, don't take us back to female cats, please.
Also, it makes you sound like a bit of a prick.
I was trying to avoid that obvious one.
So yes, Kinokuniya has apologised to any of its customers who've been approached to the store. They have identified the pickup artist group that are involved and told them to sling it.
The thing is,
excellent.
I appreciate the fact that they've apologised, but it's not their fault.
No.
You know,
I think that's a formality. I'm pleased that the apology has been backed up by actual actions.
Oh God, yes. I mean, any group like that is a predatory group, and they seriously put them on a watch list because they're going to do something bad. If they're already testing things, that means they're organised, and if they're organised, then that means they're willing to do worse.
Yeah, the days when the worst things that these guys did was wear a stupid hat to a barber, long gone, unfortunately.
Yeah.
God, it's just the idea of like a group of guys meeting up and being like, "Oh, we need to strategize how to get women to have sex with us." Oh,
yeah, you see what I mean?
Really? It's creepy, isn't it?
It's horrible to think about.
I'm glad that we're a group of guys who meet up to read out passages from the Bad Sex Awards to each other, which is comparatively incredibly wholesome.
Well, it's not that we meet up to read them out to each other. We meet up so we can laugh at Andrew's rendition of them.
Yes. Yeah, maybe if the pickup artists saw their groups function more as laughing at each other, that would be better. I mean, it would save us the trouble.
I think one of the problems I have with groups like this is inevitably they tend to be groups of reasonably handsome younger men who are reasonably well built and think the world owes them.
Got to correct you there. Have you seen any celebrity pickup artists?
No.
Yeah.
I was going to say, who's the one who looks a bit like a rat that has been through the dishwasher a couple of times?
Oh, you mean Peter Stringfellow?
That's all of them, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, but they play on their celebrity. I'm assuming that they're not celebrities if they're testing their work in a bookshop.
But that's the whole sort of sales pitch of pickup artistry, isn't it? It's that, you must be very tired of muscly, well-built, handsome men getting all your women. I will teach you the cheat codes to women so you can get them without having to improve yourself in any physical or psychological way whatsoever.
Yeah, but as common sense would dictate, women aren't really attracted to, in general, I would say, they're not really attracted to men who are, I don't know what they're attracted to. I'll be honest, I don't know what women are attracted to. I'm not even going to claim. I mean, I started that sentence and then suddenly realised, actually, I don't know, and I can't say, because, it all depends on the person. What you like is what you like. And I'm not a person who's qualified enough to judge what you like. So if you like somebody, that's what you like. I'm not going to...
I think that...
I mean, according to my corner of the internet, it's mostly lesbians with swords.
Yeah, I think, there are women who are attracted to every type of men, except men who wear big furry hats, call women milady, and demand to be addressed as Orion. No women at all are attracted to those people.
Have you tried this? Because this sounds like you're speaking from the voice of experience.
No. I am speaking from extensive research done at Kinokuniya bookstore in Sydney.
Really?
I mean, that's I don't know whether that was the thing, but that to me is the kind of end stage pickup artist look. You have to wear something that gets attention. You have to talk like you've come out of a bad Catherine Cookson novel, and you have to have a stupid nickname.
It's a common misconception. You don't wear the fedora. It's just once you reach a certain level of pickup artistry, it sprouts fully formed from the top of the head.
A lighter side to this story, the Australian writer Chloe Sargent posted on Twitter that she had been approached at Kino Kuniya by a pickup artist. It went like this. Today, a dude tried some classic The Game pickup artist lines on me at a bookstore and started out with, "Can you help me with a recommendation? What was your favourite book of 2019? So I said Clementine Ford's Fight Like a Girl. He looked a bit flustered, but persevered. He said, I meant fiction. So I said The Power by Naomi Alderman. And when I explained what it was about, he was like, oh, too scary for me, thanks anyway, and scurried off. I'll add that I'd seen him try the same thing to 2 different women before me. Pickup artist stuff is so grim.
Yeah. Fair play to her, coming up with really quite good books.
Yes.
This is what I mean, though. The last thing that these pickup artists... Love Island, right? I'm going to use Love Island as an example. If you look at the people who go on to Love Island, how many of them are well-read?
Probably not that many.
Okay. I look at the people who go on to Love Island, and in particular the men who go on to Love Island, and my automatic reaction is, if they were out on a night out, they would be trying to pick up girls, or women, or females, whatever you want to call them, right? They would be. They'd be out and about, and they'd be giving it large. I think that's the phrasing that they use these days. And
absolutely is not, but please do continue.
But yeah, they'd be out and about, and they'd be trying to attract members of the opposite gender or of the same gender, depending on their preference.
Mm.
But that's the thing, they would be coming out with all these lines, all of the typical lines that we've heard for decades.
Yeah.
So I have to ask you two.
Yeah.
I want you to be honest. What is the cheesiest, most cringeworthy pickup line that you have ever had the opportunity to hear or read?
Oh, I mean, all pickup lines are pretty embarrassing, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, because I have not been, even in the vicinity of people who pick up people at bars since I was at university. I was self-isolating long before it was cool.
I think that makes 3 of us.
But yeah, I have no idea. I'll tell you what I do have.
Oh?
A bit of extra bookshop news.
Okay.
Ooh.
Rage Against the Machine have, and stay with me, this does get back around to bookshops, have announced a major comeback tour, including 3 dates at Madison Square Garden. Unfortunately, the final date at Madison Square Garden suffered a minor misprint in early listings.
Where the August 14th date, rather than being listed as Madison Square Garden, New York, was listed as London Review of Books Bookshop, London.
Yes, that is a mild typo, isn't it?
That's, oh, wow. Oh, wow. That's, oh.
And I guess the problem then is that obviously the people trying to organise things have to bring out the bad and say, I'm sorry, Rage at the Machine, you can't go to London and play a bookshop. To which they just immediately scream, F you, I won't do what you tell me.
Yes. Fantastically, I found this out by the LRB Bookshop's Twitter account, which said that they were having immediate meetings to work out how they could arrange this. They said, the problem is where the band are going to go. David reckons that if we can just take computers and the like off the till, they could stand on the till counter. How many of them are there? There are 4. Oh, that's good. There's room for 4 as long as they don't jump around a lot.
Jump around, jump up, and get down.
That was House of Pain.
I know. They could be supporting. We don't know.
But fair play to the London Book Reviews for rolling with this so well.
Yes. They had a lot of people giving them tips on how to put on a concert on Twitter. Someone said, you'll need to plan for power and cable runs, to which the LRB bookshop replied, no, we've got to take the power back.
Oh, very good.
That is great.
So great story. A bookshop that absolutely is not killing it on that level is Barnes & Noble, which in early February announced they were going to mark Black History Month in the US with, well, what do you think? Maybe a Ralph Ellison retrospective, some James Baldwin on the front desk, a bit of Nella Larson, maybe?
No, I reckon they chose an author who is whiter than white.
Impressively, they managed to do worse.
What?
They created something called diverse editions, classic works of public domain literature that now had covers with black people on.
Oh.
You did it, Barnes & Noble.
Oh, wow.
You stopped the racism.
I mean, why?
As everyone knows, taking a white person and making them up to look black is the least racist thing you can do. So Barnes & Noble...
They didn't print new covers in which the characters are redrawn to be green. They just, took a brown pen and
marker pen. No, they did actually give them brand new covers with black and
I was going to say
characters.
I was going to say, please let them use the marker pen.
Okay, that's something at least.
Yeah. But
it's the most pathetic and ineffectual way to mark Black History Month, but it's not a minus.
Yeah, but I mean,
which is something. Isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, what is the? See, I would have loved it if they basically went to African American authors and said, "Okay, this is a list of books that we would like re-envisioning from the black perspective." Right?
Yeah, like people have been doing with Shakespeare stories recently, like Margaret Atwood and Joe Nesbo have.
Yeah. That would have been much more interesting. I mean, have you watched that Noughts and Crosses on BBC?
I haven't yet. No, I've heard good things.
It's very, very good. But something like that, where it's a reimagination, a re-envisioning of reality or of fiction, so told from a different perspective, I think that would be fascinating to read. I mean, an African American version of Pride and Prejudice would be very interesting.
It couldn't be any less interesting.
It'd be more interesting, I feel. I mean, the addition of zombies made it more interesting. So, a blaxploitation version of Pride and Prejudice would be interesting, or just told from the black perspective.
Would you like a list of some of the books they've done this to in ascending order of awfulness?
Yes.
Oh, yes, please.
The Three Musketeers.
Okay.
The Count of Monte Cristo. These are the least awful. Alex, these are the least awful because Alexandre Dumas was at least mixed race, so they are promoting the work of at least one black author at this point.
Yeah, and it's like TV series from Musketeers, that's what it was called.
Oh, yeah.
An obvious name.
Yes. Yeah.
That was really, not necessarily a good TV show, but I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah. I preferred the Muskehounds, D'Artagnan, and the Muskehounds.
You can't measure it against greatness.
It had the best theme tune. One for Rolando for one.
God, could you just imagine if Musketeers had gone for another series? And then, the Musketeers are surrounded and things look grim as they're about to be slaughtered by the opposing army. And then both D'Artagnan and Albert, the fifth Musketeer, just burst in.
Yeah.
Yes, other books targeted feels like the right word, include Frankenstein.
Wow. No, there's already a black version of Frankenstein. They called it Blackenstein, didn't they?
There's precedent, yeah. Peter Pan, Romeo and Juliet, Moby Dick, Alice in Wonderland, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Is it the whale that's black now?
That's why I started laughing. I'm just thinking of a sperm whale with an afro.
Yes, the rarest of all whales, the black whale. Yeah, two particularly horrifying ones were The Secret Garden, the one which starts with its heroine as a white girl in colonial era India.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
And...
Are we the baddies?
And The Wizard of Oz, which isn't such a dreadful choice to do this to comparatively, but it was certainly a bad choice for the cover to give Black Dorothy a pair of ruby Air Jordan.
Oh, what?
Oh, Barnes and no. You know earlier when I said, well, at least it's not a negative. But, I'm going to have to take the gold star off. Well, I'll say gold star. Like, slightly worn Space Jam sticker.
Yeah. So that's dreadful.
That is bad. Oh.
A small detail that caught my eye in a recent Guardian profile of new European writers. The Danish author Marika Lucas Ringveld has said that there was a translation problem with her breakthrough novel, The Discomfort of Evening, which, yes, in the novel, Jazz builds a fantasy about a Jewish family her mother has hidden away in the basement. She acts out her social alienation by making a Nazi salute at school and cracking a joke which was judged too offensive for the English edition of the novel.
Okay.
What can it be?
A joke that's too offensive for the English edition of the novel.
It does not clarify at all what that joke might be.
Oh, good. So what you're saying now is we now have to tell the most offensive joke we can possibly think of.
Well, no, because it's obviously unpublishable in English, so we just have to imagine it. I mean, I have, and I'm horrified.
Oh, so we're doing that one Monty Python sketch.
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had to think about it, and I'm appalled. I didn't even know the Queen Mother was that flexible.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess to be able to get 5 whole crumpets in there, she has to be.
Well, it explains the corgis. And now everyone's thinking, what was the joke?
Oh man, I found it and it's horrible. It involves a Black Dorothy with ruby Air Jordans.
You're right. No sane publisher would ever allow that to see the light of day.
Yes, so that's a little literary mystery. But to close off, we can close off on a more wholesome offence, I think, because as probably everyone in the world has noticed, that Hilary Mantel's got a new book out.
Okay.
The campaign to promote The Mirror and the Light, I agree, has been low-key and easy to miss. But if you haven't recently been buried under an avalanche of enormous hardback copies of it, as most of the country has, there is an interview with her in The Guardian which contains a rather wonderful snippet about what she might do now her Thomas Cromwell trilogy is complete. Between Bring Up the Bodies and The Mirror and the Light, she published a collection of short stories called The Assassination of Margaret Thatcher. In the title piece, she imagined a woman whose flat is infiltrated by a man determined to kill the politician for the wrongs she visited on Ireland. It caused, perhaps predictably, so much outrage that Mantle felt, quote, that we'd taken off into the territory of farce. People were suggesting the police be brought in over the fictional killing of a dead woman. Now, she says, she'd like to turn the story into a stage play. Despite her workload, she claims to have a big box of material. Is she worried about poking the sleeping bear? She bursts out laughing. it will be offensive on a scale like they've never seen. I shall absolutely be revelling in my capacity to give offence. Whether it will come to fruition or not, I don't know. But I'm not going to be intimidated by those people.
That is good offence, isn't it?
Yes. Hilary Mantel is just the best, and I think one of the few positive lessons of the last decade of British public life is that no one should get in a public feud with her, because you will lose.
I was boggled by just the outrage at I wrote a book in which someone fictionally tries to kill a woman who is already dead in real life.
Yes.
It's just why my raunchy Elizabeth I erotica never took off.
It's been quite a week of people getting angry over imaginary things, hasn't it? From trials nearly derailed because of Goodreads reviews to people getting angry over how many legs a dragon may or may not have.
Yeah, that has kind of been the consistent theme, hasn't it? God, we've not had a theme on a show for a long time, have we?
Not really, no. But yes, there we go. That's literally loitering, isn't it? That's our lot for this week.
Yep.
It is indeed.
That's been fun.
Oh.
The end of the pod. Are we done? Is it over?
Where we go out, but Rob normally has a bit he says, but just sort of yawned a bit.
Yeah, I did have a quiz, but I've been trying to find it.
Oh, right.
Been trying to find it. Hang on.
I hope we keep all of this in. See, I almost feel like there is a market for some kind of like ASMR of just awkward middle class people bumbling about for a bit.
A sort of ambient podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're saying I'm middle class.
I think you're middle class by association.
I don't think any of us are middle class, but when something goes wrong, we immediately become middle class.
Yeah. If there's something that I can feel anxiety towards for being middle class, then in that moment I shall be middle class.
I'll tell you what. I'll give you a taste of the quiz that will appear on the next episode. It's a quiz on obsolete words and what do they mean. Okay.
Oh, good.
So I have been looking up very, very old obsolete words. Just a taster, bollock-wart. Look forward to that.
The doctor said it was confidential.
Just a taster of things to come. So shall we end this episode then?
Yes, I think so.
Right. So if you want more of this kind of whatever we call it these days,
yes,
then you can find it on our website, thegeekshow.co.uk, or you'll find it on whatever podcast provider you are using. And also on our website are all of our other shows from our network, as well as reviews of various movies and things like that. You'll also find our Patreon on there, so if you want to show your support, then give us some money. Am I allowed to say it like that? I don't know. I don't care anymore. Yes, I am the Asian Geldof. That just sounds that sounds weird when I say it like that.
I snap my fingers, a podcast goes out of business. Only you can help by subscribing now. Our Patreon.
Yeah, so that's it for this week. Until next time, I've been Rob.
I've been Graham.
And I've been Andrew.
And we will see you all later.
Thanks for listening.